Hi guys, so this week we are focusing on using color schemes in our art. And color schemes are basically how colors are laid out and how they relate to each other on the color wheel. So we have a whole slide about the 7 different types of color schemes that you can choose from. And of course you can always choose what we call tertiary or secondary color. Those are colors in between our main colors as well for your color scheme. So how to lay out your art this week, since we really want the focus to be on color. I'm going to show you how to lay out your paper and get started, and then we'll walk through a couple of different color schemes that I could use in my art this week. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is we're making different types of lines for this project, and then we're going to fill those lines with our color scheme. So you want your art this week to be abstract. That means it's not representing anything from real life. We're focusing on shapes, colors, lines. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is focus on the shape that you want your kind of center stripe area to be. Now you could do this a bunch of different types of lines. You could do like curved lines. You could make your line look like it's dripping like slime. That would be really cool. You could do a zigzag line, or you could do some straight lines going this opposite way. So my paper is in landscape. It's not in portrait. It's not up and down. It's side to side in landscape. And I'm going to start by drawing kind of like a drippy line in the middle of mine. Okay, so there's my first line. Now I want kind of a thick section in the middle that's going to mirror this shape. So I'm basically just drawing stripes that follow along this line shape that I made for myself. And I'm gonna give as many spaces or as many stripes as I'm choosing for my color scheme. So it would probably be a good idea to swatch or to test out some color schemes before you start on this project, so you know how many spaces you need, particularly in the middle here. So I think I'm gonna be using 3 colors for my color scheme. So I have 3 spots here for my colors. Now most of our color schemes have 3 colors in them. So monochromatic, analogous, split complementary, triad, all have 3 colors in them. And then tetrad, square, have 4 colors in them. So you can choose 4 colors if you're going with one of those color schemes. And then complementary color schemes only have 2 colors in them. So think about that when you're spacing out your lines. Now that I have my kind of like interesting line in the middle, my shapely line, now I'm going to just create a series of straight stripes in the background. So you could have these going horizontal, you could have them going vertical, you could have them diagonal corner to corner. It's kind of up to you. I think my stripes are going to be vertical, and a ruler is really helpful for drawing your stripes in the background. If you don't have a ruler at home, you can always use the straight edge of a book or something like that. And I'm actually using the ruler itself to space out my lines. You can always measure your stripes to make sure they're equal distance, or your stripes don't have to be equal distance for this project. They could be kind of a variety of thicknesses. That would add some variety, which is another element of art, to our project this week. So once I have my whole background filled in, I'm not going to do the rest of it just for time. I've got this sort of interestingly shaped stripe in the middle, whether it's curvy, whether it's zigzaggy, it's kind of up to you. And then I've got some straight stripes in the background. Like we said, we really want the focus to be on the color scheme this week. So whatever you choose to add color with is totally fine, whatever you have at home. Crayons, markers, colored pencil, paint, those are all great options, but be sure that you have tested out the color scheme that you want to use first, and then taken a look back at the color wheel to make sure that that is a legitimate color scheme. Because I'm always having kids in my class going, well, I want a monochromatic color scheme, but then they add in a different color than just that one color scheme, okay? So let's say, for instance, that we were doing a monochromatic color scheme. And say I was doing like variations of red, or let's do purple, variations of purple. So I could use any shade of purple that I have available to me. Monochromatic doesn't have to just be 3 shades. You can use as many shades of that one color as you want to. So for instance, I think these are all the purple-ish markers that I have. So this would be monochromatic purple. All these colors are in the purple family. If I was going to do an analogous color scheme, which is one of my favorites, analogous means that those colors are neighbors, next door neighbors on the color wheel. So I could do, let's do a purple, and I'm gonna do blue and green as well. So I would maybe do blue, green, and maybe a blue. Okay, so I could do something like this, I could do something like this, but these colors are next door neighbors on the color wheel, so that would be an option for me. Something that would not be an option if I'm trying to do an analogous color scheme is if I chose purple and then green and then I chose orange. Okay, so orange is all the way across the color wheel from these two guys. They are not next door neighbors. That is not an analogous color scheme, okay? So I'll walk you through in our video the different ways that you can make these color schemes. But for your artwork, then you're going to go in after you've chosen your color scheme. So let's say I'm doing all purples, and you're gonna fill in every part of your paper with that color. So when I'm coloring, especially with markers or something, I like to outline the section that I'm coloring in first. And this is part of using our best craftsmanship, is really working hard to make sure we're coloring nicely. So I outline the section where my color's going with my marker, or colored pencil, or crayon, or whatever I'm using, so that I have a nice border for myself. And then I have worked on practicing to color all in the same direction. That's how our artwork looks the most professional, and like we spent a lot of time on it, is if we're being really careful with how we color. Now this works better with markers than anything else. Obviously it would take a really long time to color in something with like a colored pencil if you're coloring in stripes like this. But we do want to make sure that we're either coloring in tiny little circles so that it all blends together, or that we're coloring in straight pathways. Okay, so like this. And then I would go back in and kind of fill any of these little gaps that I missed. So I'm making sure that even though this project is really simple and I'm focusing on color, I'm trying really hard to use my best craftsmanship so that this project turns out really nicely at the end. We hope you guys have a lot of fun playing around with different color schemes this week. We can't wait to see what you come up with. If you give this project a try, please don't forget to share with us, and have a great rest of your week. Bye.